Hello, welcome back to
I have a Yes?
Aetheral Space.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I was gonna say spacers, and then I realized that was stupid, but that got me thinking, what is the name for Aetheral Space fans?
That's a good one. Maybe that's our question for the day already.
Yeah, I thought spacers, but that kind of could go for any fucking sci-fi. And knowing my luck, it's probably some
Padawans.
extremely obscure slur. Shadow ones?
Padawans.
No, but that's just Star Wars. It's got to be Aetheral Space specific.
Red shirts.
No. What about little officers? What is up on little officers?
Special officers.
Little officers. Special officers.
Maybe in the comments, you know what you would like to
Yeah, literally the first one to comment, that's the name, no matter what. As long as it's not a slur or illegal, whatever the first one is that's not a slur or illegal will be the permanent Aetheral Space fan name, regardless of popularity of other choices. I don't know. Maybe it is a coordinate to like some fuck shit. It's just a link to like some awful snuff video.
24 letters and numbers that when said loudly kill every human being.
That sounds like an SCP.
Two. He is now dead. This is the new century.
I returned from death. Oh.
Anyway, we're here for web serial.
Yeah, sorry. Last time the bull was like, Dragon, kill Muzazi and I'll let you go. Totally, for real, I swear this time. And Dragon was like, oh, okay. And then he went into his little mind palace and met his little kid version, which he named Dragon. And he and Dragon talked for a little bit. He's like, I'm gonna bust Muzazi out. That'll show him real good, fucking idiot. And the chapter ended. Also, Skipper was there for a minute. He went to go talk to the fifth dead. But this time there were more than one. Oh, there's a lot of people.
No,
there were a lot of people around him, right?
You're misremembering.
There was gaslighting.
He went to talk to Deer and the fifth dead was there.
Yeah, and there was a voice that wasn't the fifth dead speaking from all around him, so I thought that was like a chorus of people.
the order.
Yeah, why do you think I made that joke about 1, 2, 3, and fourth dead? I thought that was what it actually was. The whole squad. Alright. Sorry, my nose is really stuffy. Give me a minute. Super professional recording, as always. Okay.
His nose.
Skipper's eyes flicked around the office. Usually these kinds of executions involve a shot in the back of the head. Yeah? He said, testing the waters. You want me to turn around, or what? The fifth dead didn't even blink. Not much of a sense of humor in that guy, as expected. The hologram looming down from behind the huge man didn't seem much better in terms of comedy appreciation. The silver... Which one's the horse?
Industry.
The silver horse stared at Skipper with unblinking, hollow eyes, its body frozen mid-gallop. Wait, does that mean Industry's taken over the fifth dead from war?
Who knows? There's some inner politics going on.
Fuck, I forgot Industry's voice.
He was kind of like this.
Believe me, sir, said the icy horse that came...
The icy voice.
Icy horse that came from a little smaller horse of ice came out of the bigger horse and spoke for him. I was like, wow, these fucking illusions are getting more and more crafty. If I had wished you dead, you wouldn't have had the time to lament the fact. Okay, good to know. Skipper kept the same easy grin on his face even as he looked at the fifth dead. This guy had put his crew through a whole lot of trouble. Dragon had taken a tumble, and Ruth had pushed herself to her limits fighting him. If it was up to him, the fifth dead would be ending his term early, but, of course, it wasn't up to him. Well, Skipper said, stretching his arms in a mock yawn. Oh, what can I do for you then, pal? I'm a busy guy, so let's not waste each other's time, yeah? Am I still doing the Skipper voice right?
It's absolutely perfect.
Oh, thank God. Ruth Blaine, the horse said. Jagan Hadrian. Jacob Dill said. All three are in our custody, locked in cells far away from here. Keep rubbing it in, buddy. Skipper chuckled, but with an unmistakable undertone of danger in his voice. See what happens. If the silver horse was intimidated, it didn't show any signs of it. Fear not, sir, it said in its snide little voice. They are being held only as collateral. No harm will come to them, as so long as you behave appropriately. Skipper was getting real tired of being press-ganged by barnyard animals. First he was threatened by a cow, and now the horse was taking its turn. That's actually a funny quip that made me laugh. Unbelievable. Back at the barnyard. Okay, sorry. Behave appropriately, Skipper said, wagging his finger in time with the words. That's I like that. That's a good euphemism. I'm gonna have to use that. What exactly is the appropriate behavior, then, buddy? If you want me to do something, you gotta tell me what it is. You've been given 2 chances to eliminate the citizen, the horse said, and you failed each time. We've decided that we need to provide you with greater support. Fear not. I, the sponsor of industry, have arranged a scenario that will give both of you the greatest chance of success. Excuse me. Ugh. Both of us? Skipper's eyes flicked back down to regard the 5th dead. He might have just been imaging it.
Oh, imagine.
Sorry. But he could have sworn he saw just the faintest glimmer of annoyance in that man's inscrutable gaze. The sponsor of industry chuckled. His mission is to eliminate the citizen, just as yours is. I do not care who does it, particularly, so long as it is done. Skipper crossed his arms, classic YouTuber move, moved over to the wall, and leaned against it as he stared down the silver horse. These guys really were doing I assume their best to keep him from getting used to the situation, weren't they? If he had a chance to catch his breath, he might come up with a way out of this, but with everyone else effectively being held hostage, he didn't have much choice but to comply. He sighed. What's this scenario of yours, then, buddy? Dragon bit his lip as he scanned the news story on his script. This didn't sound good. President Chale announced his Remembrance Gala. Following the horrific events of recent weeks, President Chale has announced he will be holding a Remembrance Gala in order to honor the fallen as well as raise money to support their family members. 78 employees of Shooting Star Security Solutions were killed in the line of duty during the siege of the Anna Sate Memorial Hospital, along with Lucius Sate, the institution's director. Details on the circumstances behind these deaths have not yet been released, but a representative of S4 has offered the company's sincere condolences towards all those affected. During his announcement to the press, President Chale confirmed that many prominent individuals in finance, industry, and the arts had received invitations to the Remembrance Gala. The gathering is to take place in the Dawn House, which will take flight for the duration. Regardless of the circumstances that have led to it, this assembly is certain to be a night to remember. I love how even the fucking funeral's being played off like a party. That's kind of twisted. Mm. He's like, oh, we're gonna all have, it'll be a night to remember. Hey, it's a fucking funeral. It's a memorial service. I do not like Chale. I simply want to choke him with my little hands. The news story became a scroll hanging from the wall of his archive, each black letter massive on its white surface. Dragon inspected the paragraph, hand on his chin. Oh, thank God he's still around.
Yeah, yes.
Wait, okay, this is actually Dragon. Okay, this is infinitely fucked with my brain, and I wish you hadn't done this as your sort of editor. I cannot tell anymore. Dragon inspected the paragraph, hand on his chin. It's a weird announcement, he said, taking a step... Oh my God, is this like Dragon's shoulder angel now? Taking a step back from the information. Oh, my bad. Almost as weird as you. I mean, you do realize you're talking to yourself, right? Dragon ignored the jab. He didn't have any more time to get pulled into petty self-arguments. Even as his mind puzzled this whole thing out in his archive, his body was walking through the transport station, getting closer and closer to the prison by the second. I imagine if looking at your phone when going into, like, public transportation is dangerous, maybe you shouldn't be in your fucking mind palace. Come on, Dragon, maybe look in front of you. It's definitely a trap, Dragon said. They know a gathering like that is something the citizen won't be able to resist. But he's not stupid. And they know that, and they know that too. They must be pretty confident in their bait. Dragon flicked an imaginary wrist, and a memory of Lucius Sate's announcement was projected onto the far wall. The skeletal man's face was warped by the bookshelves behind it, but his words came out clear as ever. I'm waiting in my office on the top floor, citizen, Sate's memory rasped. I'll tell you the names of my associates, and then you will kill me. Consider it a commission. Sate is definitely dead, mused Dragon. Oh, I see, because won't they all be in the gala, which will be in the air? Mm-hmm. Sate is definitely dead, mused Dragon, wagging a finger at the looping memory. Yep. Dragon, who had returned to his seat, leant back? That's not a word.
Yeah, it is.
Leant back? I'm looking this shit up. This is driving me nuts. Leant. Motherfucker, it's a word, past participle. Lent back, leant? How do you say that? Lent?
Yeah. Lent back.
I actually... Lent back, okay. Legs wobbling in the air above him. He's dead as shit! Not the most helpful contribution, but Dragon couldn't exactly scold himself for lack of effort. So let's assume Sate told the citizen the names of his associates before he was killed, as he said he would. Okay. Dragon mentally paced back and forth as he walked himself through it. A gala like this is going to be invite-only, right? It said as much in the news story. So that means there's a guest list. See, that's even more fucked. Oh, sorry, you can't mourn your dead family member unless you're famous enough. Sorry, idiot. And I bet Noel can get access to that without too much trouble. His double nodded. Took you long enough, so when the citizen sees the names of the other sponsors on this guest list, he'll have no other option but to attack. Exactly. He won't get a better opportunity. Which is when they intend to catch him. Which is when they intend to oh god.
Yeah, that was my mistake.
My mind is so fucked. You're fucking with me. You don't understand this, because they're the same character with one letter different in their name. And it's driving me nuts. Which is when they intend to catch him, Dragon concluded before furrowing his brow. But that doesn't make sense. Dragon cocked his head, a smug half-smirk dancing across his lips. What doesn't? He said, in a tone that suggested he already knew. If we've worked this out right, Dragon said, the sponsors intend to catch the citizen tonight at the Scala. But I'm being sent to take care of Muzazi, in anticipation of some disaster the citizen's going to create. The pieces don't fit. Suggesting... Dragon dragged the word out. Oh my god, Dragon dragged the word. Dragon dragged the word out as far as it would go. There we go. Dragon's breath caught in his... You really fucking made this hard for me. Dragon's breath caught in his throat as the final pieces clicked together. The pale mists outside the windows of his archive faded to an ominous black. Suggesting... Dragon prompted again. Two things, Dragon whispered. One, the sponsor of war has a different plan than the rest of the sponsors. They're the ones who've arranged the gala, while the sponsor of war has something else going on. His voice trailed off. And number two, Dragon said coldly. His subconscious wouldn't allow his deductions to go unvoiced, after all. Ew, said Dragon, a deep horror dawning on him. The citizen isn't the one who's going to cause the disaster. The sponsor of war is. He reached the entrance to the prison, and his archive retreated back into his mind. The place looked more like a warehouse than a prison, to be honest. But that was probably the point. Black sites like this rarely liked to advertise the fact. A lone guard, posted to the entrance, looked him up and down, the yellow dot on the visor scanning him thoroughly. Sorry, my throat's starting to hurt. I was trying to wait for a line, but could you take over?
We've been told to expect you, the guard finally said. He motioned with his plasma bow for Dragon to enter through the door behind him. Dragon walked past the guard without another word, entering the sterile complex beyond. He couldn't waste energy talking to these people. Every bit of brain power had to go to two things only. One, figure out what the sponsor of war was planning. Two, figure out how to get away from whatever the sponsor of war was planning. Nice. Dragon strode from an automatic door and entered some kind of command center. Hello.
Sorry.
Monitors lining the walls, each displaying the live feed from one of the cells. And so Muzazi was visible on one and still strapped down in a chair. Surprisingly enough, he didn't seem to have suffered that much physical harm during his stay there. Dragon supposed that made sense in a way. If the Taldan government viewed Muzazi as a bargaining chip, they'd hardly want to break him. Mr. Hadrian called that...
I thought they had already tortured Muzazi.
Yeah, but not like... They didn't, beat the shit out of him, though.
I guess.
Mr. Hadrian called out a gaunt-looking woman with slicked-back hair, the director of this facility, judging from the way other personnel avoided looking her in the eye. We expected you'd be longer. Dragon marched up to her, doing his best to keep both his gaze and his voice steady. It wouldn't do to show any kind of trepidation here. I don't like leaving work undone, he said, icy as he could make it. I pride myself on my professionalism. He's clearly got this from a movie. She nodded approvingly. That's the sort of thing we like to hear here, young man. The way Tomato Muzazi's open fume will only be happy to loop the footage here for as long as it takes. Please proceed.
Just the most minor fucking complaint. I would just remove the second here, because I know they're different heres, but no one says here. It sounds weird. No. Put that one back. No, that one was fine. I'm talking about here, where she says here. There you go.
Yes.
Sorry.
As long as it takes. What did she expect him to do to atone Musashi? Dragon felt acidic disgust rise up in his chest, but he didn't voice it. This woman's assumptions could be useful. He didn't want to kill him early. I appreciate it, he said, but I have other work to attend to first. Where's Rayansh Patel? He'd already seen Patel, of course. He was on another of the monitors, strapped down in a prison cell. It looked like he'd had a much worse time than Musashi. A bag was placed over his head, stained red with blood, contracting in time with his strained breathing. His hands, secured to the arms of the chair he was strapped into, were lacking fingernails. Thin red streams of blood flowed down from his fingers onto the floor below.
Did they do that shit they did in Kaiji with that weirdo device?
Maybe not with the device, but...
I hate that shit.
Someone had certainly gone to town on him. The gaunt woman frowned. You're here for Toy Musashi. You don't need to worry about any other trash. Dragon raised an eyebrow. That's not what my employer said, he snapped. Perhaps you'd like to discuss it with him directly. He stuffed a hand into his pocket.
There's one thing Dragon's good at, it's fucking pretending he has fucking rights that he doesn't.
He stuffed a hand into his pocket as if reaching for some kind of hologram projector, but the gaunt woman stopped him with a hurried raise of her hand.
Maybe I'm misremembering, but like, hasn't Dragon pulled the same thing multiple times where he's like, do you want to take it up with the guy who told me what to do? Or am I thinking of something else?
That won't be necessary, she said quickly. Do what you need to. Dragon would have sighed in relief if that wouldn't have destroyed the whole point of the exercise. He'd bet everything on his woman not knowing precisely what his standing was with the sponsor of war, so he honestly didn't know what he would have done if she'd called his bluff. He nodded silently. Lead the way, he said, motioning with her hand, subtly asserting a kind of imaginary authority. The woman nodded and began striding out into the hallway. As Dragon followed, passing rows upon rows of sealed cells, he ran through the plan in his mind. It wasn't exactly foolproof, it had been put together over the course of about an hour's commute, but it was the only map he had to navigate the situation.
Yeah, but in Cogitant hours, that's like 8 hours. Doesn't everything slow down in the Mind Palace?
Yeah. He'd already executed Step 1 on the way here. Step 2 was to make use of Patel. Step 3 was to get to Musashi's cell. If he couldn't pull his first steps off, there was no point in thinking about Step 4. Dragon went to fiddle with the coin in his pocket, but his fingers only met only each other. Of course, he didn't have the coin anymore. It slipped his mind. The gaunt woman stopped outside her door that looked just like all the others. Here, she said, hands clasped behind her back. Don't take too long.
A lot of hand clasping in Aetheral space in the last few chapters.
They love it. They love it. That's because of the fifth Supreme, who famously had 10 sets of clasped hands and became a cultural milestone.
New Tanhony character quirk, clasping hands. It's okay, I have shit like that too. I use waving a hand dismissively so much when I write. That's one of my favorite things.
The door slid open and Dragon stepped inside. The woman remained in the doorway, watching with cautious eyes. Rayansh didn't look much better up close. Bruises lined his arms and legs liberally, and each breath was a crackling rasp. It was a wonder they hadn't killed him during all this. Still, though, the smell of blood and God knows what else filled the room like a miasma. Dragon held his nose. You really did a number on him. Well, said the gaunt woman, a satisfied smile playing across her lips, I don't tolerate disrespect. This young man learned that lesson quite thoroughly. Dragon nodded as he approached Rayansh, the prisoner's breathing increasing in speed as he heard steps coming closer. Conscient's eyes flicked around the chair before him. In supremacy cells he knew about, the Neverwhere was generally attached to the back of the chair, making constant contact with the prisoner's back. He could only hope that was the same with the UAP.
I'm still wondering how the hell Neverwhere keeps people from using Aether.
Well, Neverwhere, as far as Dragon was aware, was the only substance capable of completely preventing Aether usage.
What the fuck is... I swear to God I don't plan this. What the fuck is up with me asking a question that is immediately answered? I can't tell if Tanhony is like super in tune with the audience or if it's just dumb luck.
I use my Imperial Eye, my Aether power.
That's actually so funny. This has happened like 5 times in this series.
It was made using the substance that the Gene Tyrants had created during the final days of their empire, in hopes of fighting off the legions of Aether-using rebels that had risen up against them. If you ran enough power through the substance, it stifled the Aether of whoever it was touching.
Oh, so you have to put electricity through it or some shit?
Yeah.
Okay, so on its own it's useless.
Yeah, it's just sort of wire.
But didn't they just kind of hang Simeon or Rayanch up with it in like a closet somewhere and then just threw him in?
Yeah, I didn't use Neverwhere. I just sort of tie him in a way where he could not physically untie himself.
There.
There'd be a power box then, built into the Sure, to constantly supply the Neverwhere with power. They wouldn't risk having it be connected to the building's power supply. If there was a power outage, every prisoner would just bust out, no problem. He crouched down, making as if he was inspecting Rayance when he was really inspecting the Sure. He didn't have time for a full investigation, he just tapped to hope that the power supply was in the place that he expected. His body positioned to obscure the woman's view of what he was doing. He wouldn't have a better chance. One good hit to the head should finish him, he said aloud, blue aether already crackling against him, around him even. The woman didn't reply. Now or never. Gemini shotgun.
Is it going to fire the coin at her?
The coin he'd recorded shot out almost silently, lodging in the back of the chair. And as Dragan watched, the red glow of Neverwire died down to nothing. He
didn't say it out loud. He said it in his head.
Yeah.
He's cheating.
You do not necessarily have to say it out loud.
That's not what you told me 2 arcs ago.
Skipper just loves to say it.
Everyone does that, though.
Do I say it in the head, though?
No.
He reached into the back of the chair, still obscured from the woman's view, and retrieved the now burnt coin. What was that? Not sure, muttered Dragan, leaning in closer to Rayanch. The man's breathing had stopped slightly. Hopefully that was because he'd realised what was going on, and not because he'd died, because otherwise Dragan was kind of fucked. He pressed the coin into Rayanch's hand and whispered, 60 degrees up if you want to get her in the face. Mr. Hadrian, said the gaunt woman from behind him, true suspicion finally entering her tone.
Ha ha! Sus, am I right? Ha ha ha! Funny meme.
There was the telltale click of a safety being taken off a gun. Step away from the prisoner. Dragan sighed, put his hands over his head. Of course, he said, standing up, and the second he did, there was a spark of chaotic red aether. Rayanch, still blinded from the bag over his head, flicked the coin that had been pressed into his hand, and it flew true, shining with infused red aether that zoomed right at the woman's face. As if in slow motion, her eyes widened. She knew what this prisoner was capable of.
So is the reason Dragan didn't do it because he didn't think his aether would be strong enough and he was counting on this guy to be strong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dragan sees...
Because that's what I thought he was going to do. I thought he was going to surprise kill her and then free him. I didn't expect him to do it that way.
Right at the woman's face. As if in slow motion, her eyes widened, focused on the coin in front of them. She knew what this prisoner was capable of. Dragan seized the opportunity brought about with the distraction, leapt behind Rayanch's seat, slamming his hands over his own ears. Bruno had told him before they'd been separated. Rayanch had a personal force field that protected him from his own explosions, which made him the perfect human shield. The coin exploded with a screech, shards of metal and bursts of fire filling the room. The jailbreak had begun.
Hey, Rayanch moment. Rayanch is going to be like, now for saving me. My honor says I must assist you in your task. Very well, Dragan Hadrian. Please lead the way. That's exactly how he's going to say it.
Rayanch joins the party.
Oh, man. So, hey, that was pretty good. And you already know your question for this week. What are Aether fans? We are literally taking the first suggestion, so you better hurry and put it in there. And, yeah, I don't know. I miss Aetheral Space already. I genuinely want to read more, but my throat cannot physically take it. I've definitely gotten weaker over time.
That's because I'm draining your strength with my Imperial Eye.
Probably. It hurts my Imperial fucking face. No.
Your mana points are almost at 0. Lol.
I guess I'll have to activate that ability. You see a secondary bar appear that's green instead of blue. You see the words key plastered next to it.
No!
Key technique, Aether kick. Yeah. I can't wait for some fucking martial arts character to be like, actually, Aether was originally key. This is just the cool sci-fi term.
Skipper blows his head off with a heartbeat on shotgun. Hey,
yeah,
does that look like Kung Fu to you?
Kung Fu? Oh, what do I look like? Bruce Lee? Get out of here.
Martial arts? I've never took a painting class in my life.
You sound like fucking Joey Wheeler at puberty.
Yeah.
Just a grown-up Kel.
Yeah. I don't know about this one, Aubrey.
Well, I think that's it for today's episode.
Wow, what a great episode we recorded together as friends.
I know. But of course, you were just
Thanks
my
for
mental
watching,
projection.
guys. Oh. Bye.